Today I'm going to be showing you my favorite way of generating procedural content within Unreal Engine. It's using a free tool, so simple, so easy, with so much depth that I'm quite frankly astonished there is not more videos or tutorials on it. Now today we're talking about using the Prefabricator plugin inside of Unreal Engine 5. Prefabricator has been around a long time since Unreal Engine 4, and what it does is creates levels of proceduralism for your environments with as few of clicks as possible. It's simple, straightforward, and if you ever get lost, there is deep, comprehensive documentation linked in the description down below. Prefabricator works with any asset type as well, whether static, skeletal, blueprints, interactable objects, packed level actors, and many others. It simply creates groups based on how you want to categorize them. This is a tool we're also using in development for our own game, Hidden Empire, which I'll have more to show on that a bit later. But with a two-man dev team, being able to have the ability to use as much proceduralism while also maintaining a handcrafted feel is huge. And today, I'm going to show you how. I want to first talk about the sort of thought process in using this. So think of this as layers. And the way you're going to want to think of this based on, whatever it is you might be making is from sort of top down. So what do we want to make, for example? So today we want to make some procedural houses, right? Well, what are houses made out of? Houses are made out of walls, doors. Sorry, I'm drawing with my mouse right now, clearly terribly. Walls, doors, windows, and roofs, right? That's at least for the exterior. Interior is going to be, entirely different. And then, of course, like all the set dressing and all that stuff, right? So what we need to do is essentially create a procedural wall system, procedural door system, windows, and roofs. And of course, you can get as detailed as you want. And at the end of this, I'll show you some more detailed sort of prefabs that I'm currently working on, as well as have made already. But this is what we're going to be doing today. So just making a procedural house that we can then spawn into the environment. So to do this, it's going to be super, super simple. What we're going to do is I'm going to first, in this case, I'm just going to grab a pillar. There's always a pillar in between the wall pieces. So I'm just going to grab a pillar and I'm going to look at the wall pieces I have. And for me, I like to have different height variations as well as different sort of like visual variations. So these walls, I'll use these ones, for example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over here. And then I'll just grab this one. I'll actually just copy that pillar's location, paste it here, and then move it over. Like so. And I'll push this in a little bit. Okay. So now all we need to do to get this started is first and foremost, create the folders. So this is the folder structure I currently have in here. So prefabricator and first floor walls. The reason you want to have this set up first, the folder structure, is because when you create these prefabs, it is going to just instantly drop the prefab in whatever folder you have open. That's like perhaps the only drawback of this. But outside of that, it's a really great process. So I'm just going to select these, and then all we need to do is just right click and create prefab from selected. And there we go. Now we have one, and I'm going to name this. So I'm at PF for prefab, first floor, wall V1, and I'm going to just copy that name because I'm going to reuse it. Okay. And then I'm just going to pull these out of this prefab actor. And then with this one, I'm going to copy this location just to make sure that everything's going to line up perfectly, and just paste that one in there and then do the same here. So right click these, create prefab, and again, just rename it. Oops. Two. And then just pull this out of here. And then copy that location again. And then just grab the last wall here. Like so. Right click, create prefab, and then just rename it PF1F wall V3. This kit is also fully built out like interiors, by the way. Just want to show this real quick. Yeah, so interior, exterior with interactable doors and stuff. Just giving it a little shout out. So back to the matter at hand. All right, so now that we got this, now all we need to do, so we have our procedural pieces for this wall made. And all we need to do is just select all these, right click, and create prefabs collection. And we're just going to rename that PFC, first floor, stone walls. Yeah. And now that we have this, once I hit randomize, and you see now we have all these different walls here. Like so. And once we get the full system set up, we'll be able to do this with the entire house where like all the walls are all procedural and everything. But you see how quick this was, even just this to set up. So we set this up nice and quick like that. And then now we have these little house pieces and we have a full, procedural sort of system already working that easily. So that's one wall. And let's go ahead and bring this back. So to keep things nice and clean, I'm going to just bring all this back for that one. And then we'll do the same with the windows. So the windows are going to be a little different because I have actual window meshes. So we'll go ahead and we'll use this one. And this one where's the blueprint one? So these are interactable blueprints, which is great because then, we do these prefabs. It just works with whatever you sort of want it to work with. So in this case, then we have these windows that, in game you come up to and, open the windows so you can sneak into or just, the shopkeep, the NPC interacts with it to open it up to open shop. So go ahead and take this and I'll go ahead and copy that location again, grab this and make a duplicate of it so I don't mess it up. I'm just going to drag it over here. Like so. All right, and then we have all these pieces together. And again, just right click, create prefab. And again, just because it's a blueprint, like we have a blueprint in there, it doesn't matter. You can mix and match all sorts of stuff. PF, call this merchant window small. Then we have a larger one. Okay, and now the doors. So for this one, Go ahead and grab this door, and it's again going to be same thing. So right now it's just going through the motions of building this really. All right, and then go ahead and grab all the pieces. And then again, as always, right click, create prefab. So you see how easy this is just to create these prefabs, these procedural blocks. And again, we're going to work it, we're going to create them sort of in a layered system like this. So PF, first floor, door V1. And then now with the doors, going to create prefabs collection. So PFC, first floor, doors. And then same with the merchant windows. PFC, first floor, merchant windows. And then we'll do one more for these windows. But it appears I'm missing one, so let me find that. Probably accidentally deleted it in this right here. Yep, right here. Okay. So now what we can do is we're going to use these prefab collections to build out that first floor. So what you need to do is first make the first one, and then you'll see how we can make this work. So we got this, and just duplicate this and replace it. We got that one. I'm going to turn on grid snapping real quick so these snap together. So duplicate it. And maybe this one will have the door. This one will be a merchant window. And then we'll do one more, and this one will be a wall. So stone wall, like so. And just come in here, and we'll just continue this trend over here. So we'll just make this one square. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll just make it 4 by 4 by 4. So window, window, and then wall. Okay. And I'm just gonna take all these. And for the sake of speed, I'm just going to move these, rotate these. Like so. And then again, for the sake of speed, I'm just going to grab these and do the same thing. So just come over here and just grab all these. Like so. Just make sure they are in there right. All right. So now what we're going to do is just go ahead and grab all of these and then just create prefab from selection. Okay, and this will be prefab first floor stone. All right, now we bring this in. And now we can start hitting randomize. And now you can start to see how, and the more pieces we put in here, then of course the more random it can be. But now as we spawn these in, these houses, these buildings, then we can really start to get some procedural, some procedural sort of development. And so all we need to do is just do the same thing for the other pieces, for these pieces, for the second floor. And I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that and speed it up a little bit, just so the video doesn't get overly long. And one little trick in using this, if you want to also have the option to not show something, is what we can do is we can come in here and just grab a basic actor. And I'll just call this outcrop null. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this, copy it, paste that. And then we can take this outcrop right here, and we can go ahead and right click, create prefab. And then that outcrop null, where'd it go? And then this one, go ahead and create prefab, outcrop null. Okay. And then we just take that and that one. And we'll take these two, so outcrop null and then the outcrop right here, prefab collection. Yeah. So now sometimes it'll spawn this. Okay, and we can take one. And you could do it around all four. Yeah, I think I'll probably just keep it on 3. Right, and now we can just grab all these. And now we hit create prefab, PF house V1. So now when we drag and drop this in, now we have this prefab that is going to be entirely random, like so. And you could continue this trend with everything, with the interiors, with stairs, with you could really recreate anything you want, and you can create it now as a prefab. So now you just hit randomize, and everything is going to be a little bit different. And if you're use this to set up your environment, and then you decide, well, I want the door to be over, over here now, well, then all you need to do is just select those pieces like so. Like move this over here, or move this over here, or just go ahead and grab this piece, make it easier. And just make this, that's already a wall, and just make this another window or whatever it might be. So once you have it set up and procedural, you could still go in and make, individual arc directed changes to your assets. So I'm going to show another thing. So all right, so this is far from being done. There's a lot more assets to come, but you could even do it with things like props. And so we have a bunch of these props, different tables, different accessories. And then what I'm working on doing is creating, 5 by 5, 10 by 10, 20 by 10s, 5 by 10, 5 by 20, all different shapes of bedrooms. Basically creating prefabs of all of those. So this, for example, a bookshelf, right? Easy example, right? So come in here, and ultimately when we set up the rooms, we can then, for example, this here, we'll create a smaller room over here. And we got a little table in there. Maybe we'll put the table up over here. And then we'll grab a bed. Put the bed right over here, let's say. And then I believe I have some carpets already. I have some carpets in. Yeah, I'll worry about that later. But anyway, you can go ahead and grab these. And again, just come in here, and I'm going to actually just go in here. And here, create prefab. This will be prefab 5x5 room V1. And ultimately, you can make a bunch of different configurations for this room with, whatever you want to put in here. And then all you're going to do is end up hitting randomize. And then you can see how this inside of a house, and you ultimately create this stack where all you do is you have your one single prefab, you drag and drop it in, and you hit randomize, and then you have entirely procedural different houses with entirely unique different sort of randomized assets. And all of these books in classic RPG fashion are, you can grab them. So so everything, interactable, whatever sort of assets you want, blueprints, static meshes, skeletal meshes, whatever it may be, you could utilize, which is really great. And so that's it for the demonstration of prefab. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask, comment down below. Feel free to join the Discord. The link will also be down below. And until then, see you guys in the next one, and I hope you enjoyed.